North Carolina. From the mountains to the sea, it's a place with abundant and diverse streams, rivers, lakes, and wetlands. Tasked with overseeing these valuable resources is the Wilmington District Army Corps of Engineers. Their mandate is based on the Clean Water Act of 1972, which expanded the Corps' regulatory role over activities in the waters of the U.S., including wetlands. Regulating wetlands has proven beneficial to the overall health of our waterways. Wetlands have long been known to be our valuable filter, removing pollutants, excess nutrients, and sediment from waters before they enter our streams and rivers. They also provide critical storage capacity for stormwaters that enter low-lying areas. And wetlands provide valuable habitats and travel routes for many species of birds, amphibians, fish, and other animals. North Carolina has a variety of wetland types, with some only being found in certain parts of the state. Bottomland hardwoods, riverine swamps, and freshwater marshes are common throughout North Carolina. However, wetland resources such as hardwood flats and pine savannas are unique to the coastal plain. The same is true for the mountain region of North Carolina, where unique mountain bogs and seeps can be found with rare plants and animals. The Wilmington District has recently completed an interagency effort with other state and federal partners to develop an assessment methodology that consistently identifies all wetland types within North Carolina. This effort has produced the North Carolina Wetland Assessment Methodology, which also provides a rapid, qualitative assessment of wetland functions based on type. One of the Corps' main regulatory tasks is the process of identifying and locating jurisdictional waters of the U.S., commonly referred to as the jurisdictional determination process, or a delineation. This process establishes a line that identifies and separates Corps-regulated areas from non-regulated areas. A jurisdictional determination is essential when investigating, planning, designing, and/or submitting an application for a permit from the Corps, and to determine if the proposed work will occur in wetlands or waters of the U.S. In general, these determinations are good for 5 years from the date the Corps notifies you in writing. There are specific definitions and methodologies used to identify and then delineate wetlands, which are outlined in the 1987 Corps of Engineers Wetland Delineation Manual. Methodologies for delineating wetlands have evolved considerably since the beginning of the regulatory program in the 1970s. The Corps has recently developed supplements to the 1987 manual in an effort to further refine wetland delineation techniques due to regional differences in wetland types. The Corps has developed and implemented 2 supplements that would apply to regions in North Carolina. One for the entire coastal plain area, known as the Atlantic and Gulf Coastal Plain Supplement, and one for the mountain and Piedmont regions, known as the Eastern Mountains and Piedmont Supplement. These supplements help identify wetlands based upon indicators that are common to wetland types in North Carolina. Some types of wetlands are difficult to recognize, often because they're dry during part of the year or just don't look very wet. The Corps uses a 3-parameter approach in identifying wetlands: hydrophytic vegetation, hydric soil, and hydrology. Usually, hydrophytic or aquatic vegetation is present when the plant community is dominated by more than 50% of species that can tolerate prolonged inundation or soil saturation during the growing season. However, there are several thousand species that can grow, whether predominantly or occasionally, in wetland areas. The second parameter for identifying a wetland is the presence of hydric soil. Hydric soil is a soil formed under conditions of saturation, flooding, or ponding long enough during the growing season to develop a lack of oxygen in the upper part of the soil. The Corps uses hydric soil indicators that have been established for common soil types to determine the presence of wetland soils. Hydrology is the third parameter in determining the presence and extent of a wetland. Wetland hydrology is determined by using the combination of hydric soil indicators and the dominant presence of hydrophytic vegetation. Both soils and plants have to show observable evidence that periods of inundation or soil saturation lasting more than a few days during the growing season have occurred repeatedly over time. Some easily observable hydrologic indicators include soil saturation and inundation, water-stained leaves, water marks on trees, and rack lines. Unlike wetlands, the methodology for identifying streams is not defined under a manual, but outlined in various core reference materials. In fact, only recently have scientists and natural resource managers begun to emphasize the importance of stream channels, especially small headwater streams, on the overall health of the aquatic and terrestrial ecosystem. Like wetlands, stream systems can vary greatly across different regions. North Carolina has an abundance of small headwater streams to large main stem rivers. All are critical in maintaining healthy and functioning ecosystems. Commonly found throughout North Carolina are two types of streams, perennial and intermittent. Intermittent streams have flowing water from groundwater during certain times of the year. Runoff from rainfall is a supplemental source. And as with wetlands, just because the stream doesn't look wet doesn't necessarily mean it's not jurisdictional, which can be the case for intermittent stream channels. Perennial streams have flowing water year-round during a typical year. The water table is located above the stream bed for most of the year. Groundwater is the primary source of water, with runoff from rainfall as a supplemental source. In identifying stream features, the baseline indicator used by the Corps is the term ordinary high water mark. Ordinary high water mark is that line on the shore established by the fluctuations of water, usually indicated by physical characteristics such as a clear, natural line impressed on the bank. Other physical signs include matted down vegetation, sediment sorting, and water staining. Please visit our website for links to the 1987 Wetland Delineation Manual, regional supplements, and documents relating to ordinary high water mark identification. Our website can also help you find out whether there are jurisdictional waters or wetlands on your property. Once there, you can follow the steps to obtain a jurisdictional determination, or you can contact the appropriate regulatory field office for more information. Obtaining a jurisdictional determination from the Corps of Engineers will provide valuable assistance as you plan, design, and develop your property. A jurisdictional determination will also help you avoid any unintentional violations. We hope you found this helpful, and please contact us if you have any questions.